heal the world, make this a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying, but if you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me. Hello everybody, I'm Lady Cheryl, and I want to welcome you to my YouTube channel today. In this episode, I'm going to share with you how the squash and corn is doing in my emergency garden. I think you'll enjoy this video. Okay, let's get started. Okay, let's start with the bad stuff first. I decided to pull most of the squash in the greenhouse because it is heavily infested with spider mites. Now this occurred when I went on vacation. I saw evidence, but I thought I could treat it. It's too far gone, and I'm gonna cut my losses. And yeah, so I just decided to go ahead and pull up all of the infected plants. And it happens sometimes, guys. I would have caught it if I hadn't taken my vacation. Do I regret my vacation? Absolutely not. But the good news is I can still plant something in here, but I'm going to treat it with neem oil first. And I'll add dish soap, and I know I say don't use that in the summertime, but the plants are gone. So I'm gonna go ahead on and treat it today. And this plant right here appears to not have been infected a lot. So I'm going to go ahead on and leave this one here. But the rest of them I pulled up. Now, another thing that is good is I have 2 plants with the corn. So we'll get some squash, and you can see that the corn is producing its tassels. I don't have to worry about it not properly germinating because we get a lot of high winds in North Texas. And if you follow my finger right there, you will see it is beginning to silk. So I'm excited about being able to harvest this corn probably in about another 30 days and to distribute it to the people that it's going to. And hopefully we'll get enough squash, and I can see a bee from here pollinating the flowers. And just in case the bees wouldn't easily find my squash, I want you to follow my finger. Right there, I put a container of marigolds, and there's one right behind it where the bee was. So a lot of times you can do things to help nature help the bees and butterflies find your flowers if they don't on their own, by putting some flowers or plants that will attract pollinators to your crops. And that's what I did here. So I'm very excited about seeing the corn. It didn't miss a beat with my vacation. It rained very well while I was gone both times, and so the corn is looking fabulous. And look at the leaves. I'm gonna go closer so you can see the leaves on that blue Hubbard squash. Let me go closer, enlarging it so you can see they're huge. And I'm hoping that I can give at least each recipient 1 or 2 pieces of squash. But if I can't, I did the best I can. Now I'm going to pan over here, and I'm going to show you how I moved the shade cloth up a little bit higher because of the fact that I felt like these pepper plants weren't getting enough sun with the shade cloth inside the greenhouse. But they're beginning to make little small peppers. Let me go in closer so you can see that they're coming And you remember, these are the ones that I grew. I didn't grow from seeds. I bought transplants. Originally, they were just going to be an experiment, Pepper Place experiment. And then when the pandemic surged, I said, okay, well, this is not the time to be experimenting. I'm going to go ahead and grow these for food to donate. But check this out, guys. These plants are in this raised bed down here. They are incredibly tall. I'm going to stop right here, and I'm going to show you some photos of when I first transplanted them, and then when they got heavily infected, or I should say infested, with insects damage, that I had to cut them all the way down. So here are some photos of March 18th. Pictures of Pepper Place when that raised garden bed was heavily infested with insects, slugs, Japanese beetles, you name it, I had them there. And I had to treat it with diatomaceous earth, and I put straw all around it, and that controlled it somewhat. And then a few weeks later, on March 31st, this is what Pepper Place began to look like. As you can see, I cut the plants all the way back and they grew. I made a video and I kept telling everybody, don't worry about it. I'm sure they're going to come back. They're beginning to take off. They're very tall. The plants are about 4 feet tall. But this is what I want to share with you. One of the reasons why I like to grow from seeds, because when you buy transplants, sometimes they are mislabeled. And I'm suspecting that this is not a sweet bell pepper plant. Several of these aren't. This is a jalapeno. Look at that. That is not a bell pepper. And let me show you more evidence right over here. It looks yellow, but the plant is green. It's just the way the camera is reflecting. That's a jalapeno. There's one right there, and there's one right here. I did not buy jalapeno plants. I bought sweet peppers. And look over here. So an employee probably mislabeled these plants, and I don't want to say the name of the company because it can happen to any nursery. However, these will make really nice poppers. So my friends and the people that this is going to will still be happy. The sun is coming up now. You can see it right there in the clouds, and you can get a better look at the peppers. So Pepper Place is doing absolutely fabulous in the greenhouse. And you guys know that I removed the plastic cover months ago, and I put the shade cloth cover on, but I decided they needed a little bit more light. And I'm telling you, the sun is making these plants look or appear to be a little yellow, but they are dark green. Okay? So now I'm going to treat this bed. I'm going to try to keep it away from the marigolds, even though neem oil won't hurt the marigolds. It's been real hot, so the flowering has slowed down, but I assure you they will flower again in a month or so. They'll start flowering now, producing blooms, but when it gets cooler, they're really going to produce blooms all the way up until the first freeze. So I'll be back, and I'm going to show you exactly how I'm going to mix up my neem oil. And remember, I don't recommend that you use neem oil when it's hot outside, when it's 85, 90 degree temperature. But I'm going to go ahead and do it just for the sake of killing the spider mites in this soil, so I can condition the soil and get it ready to plant something else for the emergency garden. I'll be back. What do you think I should plant in this garden bed next? Now remember, I'm in zone AA, North Texas, and we're going to start having temperatures above 100 degrees in the next few days. Now I know what I'm going to plant in the next few days, but if you can guess it, in fact, the first 10 people that comment what they think I'm going to plant, if you're right, I'm going to send you a nice gift. Now, I'm going to give you a little hint. It's going to be planted by seeds. I'm going to sow some seeds. And I ordered the seeds from Baker Creek, so I will show you a copy of the order to make sure that you can verify that you answered the question correctly. So whatever I'm planting, I'm going to sow seeds. And if you guessed correctly, the first 10 people will receive a gift certificate to when I relaunch my product line in August. I told you guys about it about a week or so ago. So please watch the video. Think about it. Think about where I live. Think about the hot heat and what you think I can grow from seeds in July. Comment and I'll let you know as, oh, you know what? I need to put some time on this. So I'll give it a week from the day this video drops. Then I will announce the winners. Okay, good luck, everybody. Here's an outside view of the corn that's that I was just showing you inside of the greenhouse, showing you it from the inside of the greenhouse. But I thought I'd come out and show you close up the marigolds there. And they are in that container that I brought over this area so that it can help pollinate. And you can see right here that it did the trick because we have a blue Hubbard squash growing in this plum tree. And I will support it because the fruit can get up to 5 pounds or more. They grow large. That's why I said if I just give each family one, then that's a nice amount of squash. So as you can see here, the plants are doing very well. Huge leaves. So I'm praying that I get enough since I had to pull that other squash. If you didn't know, I want you to know how the corn develops. After it gets almost the size that it's going to grow as far as height is concerned, it will start producing a tassel. And these tassels are the male part of the corn that contains pollen. And the tassels will open up and spread. And as the wind blows, the tassels will fall down. Particles will fall down. Now, let me share this with you. The silk part of the corn, think of it as the female part of the corn. So the tassels will break off little pieces from the wind, drop down, and then attach itself to the silk of the corn. And each silk represents or can become one kernel of corn. And that tassel particles will slide down the silk of the corn and produce the child, the kernel of corn. Okay? So the more the tassels are shedding and are being distributed through the wind to the silks of the corn that flutters around, the more your corn will be pollinated. And that's why sometimes you see people harvest corn and some of the kernels weren't pollinated. And a lot of times it's nothing that the gardener did wrong. It's just that the little pieces of particles of the tassel did not attach themselves to the silks. Okay, I hope I explained that where you can understand it. If not, shoot me an email. You guys know I love to teach. Fruit pollinated. So we'll have one there, and I'll make a sling for it and put it on this tree, tie it to this tree to secure it. And that way I can get it off of the ground. And I like to grow my squash up. I know some people don't, but that's how I like to grow. Vining squash, I like to grow it up. That way I can see what's going on, because they can get away from you real quickly. I'll insert a picture of an Armenian cucumber I harvested this morning. That was beginning to rot, actually. I'll show it to you. But I can cut off the good part and eat it. But anyway, I just thought I'll step outside of the greenhouse and show you the squash. And this right here, that's growing inside the greenhouse. Let me reduce it. This is all from 2 plants, and now it's growing inside, all the way over there, and over there in that corner up under that table. And that's why I went ahead and just made the decision to just go ahead and pull the squash, because I knew I had quite a few. And look, I always say quite a few. Now, I want you to look right here. This squash is from the garden bed that I just showed you. My pan over here. You see right over there? This squash is growing all the way over here, all the way right here. And I'm going to go in closer, and I'm going to show you, if I can, if it'll let me, there we go, that we have a blue Hubbard squash growing right there. It's exciting. So I'm going to probably lift up the shade cloth, coax this to go back inside if it hasn't tied to this peppermint already, and it has. But I'm going to lift it up. Oh, shoot. Look, guys. Tore it off right there. But that's okay. That doesn't look like squash thine border. Let me focus. So we're accident, but that's okay because it broke before. Can you see that? It broke before. I guess I should say after. It broke after where the squash is. So we'll move that over there, and I'm gonna pick that off the ground too. Okay. All right. I'm excited. I love gardening. Here is some more squash that I'm growing. Just want you guys to see. I have squash growing in different places. This is growing out of a 17-gallon bucket, and this long little corn, it just popped up. One of the seeds that didn't germinate. And I know it needs to be grown in a group, but I didn't have the heart to pull it up. So we'll just see what it does. And then I'll show you the squash that I have over here. This is the crookneck and the summer squash. So I still have enough squash to be able to give away. Just want to share that with you. If you guys remembered, I also had some corn that I planted directly in the ground with a little potting mix and garden soil. And there's a lot of wood chips down there. So this corn, I have to feed a little bit more. And so I have a gallon of fish fertilizer in this tea jug. I've been using this jug for years because I don't drink the green tea from the store anymore. I make my own tea. But I like these jugs because they're very durable. So the next time I have a family dinner or something, I'm going to buy a couple more gallons so I can use this. I love to put rainwater in them and then add my liquid fertilizer. And you guys know I use Neptune's fish emulsion with seaweed. And so I mixed it up in the house. I already filled it up, you know, the rainwater in the gallon, and I put about an ounce of fertilizer in here, shook it up, and now I'm going to water this corn in the ground with this. I'm going to fertilize it because it needs a little bit more fertilizer because there are wood chips up under there. And if you don't know, wood chips take a lot of nitrogen out of the when they're breaking down. And so since this corn is a heavy feeder of nitrogen, I'm going to supplement it. And also I want to share something interesting right here. This grew up, I'm almost positive this is a white hibiscus, Texas star hibiscus. I remember putting some seeds over here in this corner last year, and they didn't come up. I'm almost certain. So I'm going to let this grow. I'm going to give it a little, I'm going to start watering it and giving it a little food, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so now I have this corn. Let me move back. And I'm just going to water. And you can see a little purslane Let me go zoom in closer, because every time I see some purslane, I put it where I want it, right there. Remember, it's loaded with omega-3. People think it's a weed. Anything that you don't want is a weed, but it's not a weed to me. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish watering this. And I'll give a little water to this pecan tree right here. I don't know if you guys remember it. It's taller than me, but it was a volunteer. Came from a squirrel that hid a pecan inside of my citrus tree. And I found it inside my container, inside my home during the winter time. And I've been caring for it. And right here, up under this leaf, was Japanese beetle. Now I know this looks weird to you, but I'm telling you, I grew up a girly girl with 4 older brothers and 1 younger brother who used to terrorize me with bugs. I hated them. But when I started gardening and growing the majority of my food, all of that fear of insects went away. Now, I want to show you something. Look closely. Right here, you'll see a lot of ants crawling over here. And that means that there are aphids. Ants farm aphids because they like the sticky honeydew substance that aphids excrete. They eat that moisture, that sugary moisture. So those aphids are probably down inside of that corn where the aphids are crawling. So I need to take care of that by blasting it with water. Now, the water won't kill the ants, but it will kill, or I should say, drown the aphids. So let me go get my water hose. So I'm just going to blast water where I saw all those ants. But you have to use a strong force of water. And I'll water this little hibiscus while I'm here. This used to be my huku culture, and it has decomposed. So there's nice rich soil up under those wood chips. Now let's go back and take a look. Let's see if we see any aphids. I think I got them. And if you're wondering if I'm out here with bare feet, I am. A city girl gone country. Okay, so this concludes the video, and I will show you how I treat the spider mites in my next video, and I'll bring you something else interesting I think you can learn from or be motivated by. I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to watch my video, and as always, I want you to know that God loves you and I love you too. Thank you for watching, everybody. Bye now.